Let's all go to the library. So the library at Southern Poly is, I'm going to say, mostly online. It's not that they don't have books, but they do. Actually, they have quite a good selection of magazines that you can go and flip open and read. But if you're a remote student, then you're going to use the library online. You can find a this interface to the library on your D2L page at the bottom. They have a little widget there. And you can get started by just typing. Before you go type a search term, though, know that this is the current password for the library, and you'll need to know that. If you should get stuck with something, you can go chat with a librarian, and it'll tell you once you open the chat window whether there's somebody there that's going to respond or not. And they're very helpful, as hopefully they are in the library. So I'm going to look for Arduino hardware, and I'm going to search by keyword. Graduate school professors really like peer-reviewed work, but first I'm just going to do a general search to see what I can find. And here I found some articles, and some things are not in our library. See, it says request this item through interlibrary loan. And you'll notice that there's a sign-in here, and I believe I have an account. I think you have to make one. Yes, you have to make an account for the EBSCO host, and this allows you to save certain things. I can have my folders, for example. And let me scooch this down a little bit. There's another pane here on the right hand side that you're not seeing. So here I can chat with the librarian, and I can see a few things in here. Lib guides. There's some library guides for information technology or computer science. There we go. Computer science. And you can go look at Amy's research guide. Of particular note in computer science, you're looking at IEEE or the ACM. Those are the two good places that you're going to find information. I have found that sometimes it's a little hard to figure out when you get to a site that's, for instance, like the IEEE. You may get there and you can find something, but you're not allowed to see it. So changing pages here in the library guide to finding books and articles. Here I have my Hive search, and then I have my list of databases. So ACM Digital Library. And this is a Galileo link. Welcome to Galileo. You are not logged in. You need the Galileo password. Now here's where I should mention something called Hornet Connect, and I'm going to show you how to use it in a little bit. But alright, so I used the same password that I had from before. Now I see I am at the ACM, and let's go look up Arduino again. Now notice here I have a sign in also. And there we go. Cool projects for open source hardware. Well, that's available on Safari Online. Here is a PDF. And here it says I can buy this article. So this is kind of a dead end for me because I don't want to go and buy that article. So now that I've reached that dead end, let me show you something called Hornet Connect. Use your same account login that you use for everything else on campus. And I right now have connect.spsu.edu running. It's a VPN. I'm going to sign out of my VPN because it says I'm already signed in. And I will continue with this session. And so when you go to connect.spsu.edu, you will see links to library resources and a whole host of things. You may not have known it, but you actually have personal storage, like your personal space on the campus media server. And if you go here to Client Apps, this is where you can get that handy dandy little, it'll look different on your system because this is what's available on the Mac system. But if I go and I start my VPN connection, and so for some things you have to have this VPN connection going in order to access it. And there I am. I can go to the library resources from here, and notice I get a slightly different interface. This is like the old interface that we could find. And so GIL is the Galileo Interconnected Libraries. I think we'll have to get a library in details, but I think Galileo is just for the Georgia libraries. And then there's EBSCO. So let's go see what we can see through the ACM here. And notice this little session thing is showing up. Now the ACM knows I am coming through Silly Polytechnic State University. So if I were to go and I wish to see hardware, did not get the same results, but if I just pick this PDF at random, I now can see this particular PDF. So it's important sometimes what you're logged into and how you get there so that you don't run into a dead end. Another way of searching for content is Google Scholar. Now often you won't be able to get to the full article, for instance like that ACM article, but somehow Google is a little better at finding things, I have found, or it just gives you another view into the world. So if I go here and look at Arduino hardware, then I get this neat little article here on the LilyPad, which I thought was kind of interesting. And here I'm at the same login for the ACM, but I now know that when I go through the school I can go get it. And here's a DOI number, and DOI numbers are quite interesting because they're really like a URL to that number. In fact, if you go to DOI.org, you can read about DOI numbers and you can resolve a DOI name and link to that. So now if I go back to my ACM connection through the school, which I can see here, then I don't know if I can search for a DOI number there. Let's find out. Let's start a new search. So I found the advanced search on the bottom left hand side and way down here. Now let's find that DOI. And there we go. There's my LilyPad article. I can see the PDF. And over here, this part becomes very important when you begin to write a paper. Tracking your citations. There are some very well-established citation formats and tools. I believe that I used EndNote when I had to do this, and it becomes really important that you save your citations, and it's up to you of where do you keep them. Sometimes these different systems have places that you can save it, or you can use an application that is web-based and you can collect them anywhere, or you can just put them in a notepad someplace. This is an example of a EndNote formatted citation, and this is more like what you would use in the actual document. And here's two different applications. So these are really good because this ought to be good enough for most college professors to include down at the bottom of your Word document for your paper. Here's the website for EndNote, and I would take time to go and watch the video just to see how that they work. And of course, you always look for student. Starting from the research guide going to the IEEE, we'll find the same problem. When we get to the IEEE here, you'll notice it says institutional sign-in, but if you go and link to the IEEE through the connect.spsu.edu, notice that that's even the URL up here, then we are connected to the library the correct way. And I could go search. I can say, well, I'll search journals and publications. I can get my quick abstract here, decide if I want to read further. And there we are. I will hazard to say, and this is my personal bias, for computer science type information, you will do better to go directly to the ACM or the IEEE. Than searching through the regular just library search. That is my personal experience. When you go through Galileo, Arduino, hardware, LilyPad, there's all sorts of databases that the system knows how to search through. Let's find something a little easier. There we go. Okay, the official code of Cobb County. So I'm going to say more liberal arts things are often found, or I'm going to say just traditional materials. But the nice thing is you can search magazines. Let's go back and just put in Arduino. Oh, there we go. So this is a periodical. And some things you can find. All right, so here's an article out of PC World. That's probably going to be pretty readable. And then here's the page out of that PC World. And there you go. There's a very short tour of the library at Southern Poly.